So, my name is Fayyaz from Nintendo Players UK, and I'm here with Johnny Yong Bosch. So, for those who are uninitiated, just to let everyone know what you do, you're a voice actor.
Yes.
So, what does that exactly entail for those who might not be familiar with voice acting in general?
Well, I act with my voice.
But
I provide voices for video games, anime, and cartoons and things like that.
I see. So, you've also done a lot of acting as well,
Yes.
as obviously the most prominent role being
Power
the Black
Rangers,
Power
right,
Rangers.
yeah.
So, just as a quick history of your Power Rangers run, which series have you been in, and what Power Ranger colors were you?
I was the Black Ranger in Mighty Morphin. I was green in Zeo, green in Turbo, and then I returned for Space and Overdrive.
Ah.
Yeah.
So over that tenure, and you've probably been asked this a lot, well, which one has been your favorite tenure being said Power Ranger?
Well, it's kind of, for me in the beginning, it was with Mighty Morphin, Zeo, and Turbo, it all kind of ran together for me. So that all feels like one thing, but I know people like to separate them because the color change and costume change. But that really was the main bulk of it for me. And I was the same character, so it's hard for me to really separate it other than the color. But if I had to choose, it would be black because I just like the color black better.
That sounds that was my favorite. To be fair, obviously everyone's already.
I should have just asked you, what's your favorite? All right, that's
my favorite one. Among all the Power Rangers, I'm always a Red Ranger fan because my favorite color is red. But in terms of yours, it's always going to be the Mighty Morphin Black Ranger. Although I'm more fan of the Mastodon and not the Frog. Just as
there you go.
Alright, so going into voice acting, so you've voiced Lelouch Britannia,
Yes.
of course, being I think to me is your most popular role. I've been a very big fan of that particular series of things. How did you get involved with being Lelouch? Because you're obviously, how old are you now, if I may ask?
Old. 71.
That sounds so. At the ripe old age of 71, you voiced a 15-year-old essentially, or effectively. So, what's that experience like between voice acting essentially characters that are young? Because you also play Nate in Yokai Watch.
Yes, who's much younger.
Yeah, which is also more surprising. So, what's that experience like voicing such a young character?
It's awesome. I mean, that's one of the things I really like about voiceover is I'm not locked into what I look like or how old I am. So I can play a young kid or whatever. It just depends on where I put my voice, And so, yeah, I mean, that's the fun of it. That's the exciting part about it.
You've also going back to Power Rangers, you did voicing for that as well. So what's the difference between the bobbleheads versus the lip flaps, essentially?
It's much easier to match a moving head than it is to match flaps, specifically in anime. Other than that, you're just doing it and they animate it later. But matching flaps in anime is very tricky. A lot of people think it's super easy. But you can tell just from the old style of anime dub where they try to fit everything into the flap really fast. Now, of course, any of the companies, they're much better actors and now just trying to and much better writers. I can't really say much better actors, but much better writing. And people are so used to what you have to deal with, I guess, with the lip flaps and stuff.
From all the roles that you've played so far, which one has been your favorite, or at least the most fun, or in terms of memorable experiences?
Most fun would be Devil May Cry 4, Nero game. But it was my first. I got to do the motion capture for that game in Japan, so I got to do that. So I got to be more part of the actual character and developing that character because it was a script rather than an anime where it's already animated and I basically match those flaps. I scream and cry because the animation is already doing that, so I just provide that emotion. Whereas Devil May Cry 4, I got to make those choices. I got to say, I'm going to make him cry or scream or get emotional or whatever. I get to choose those things and then do them with my body and make it with my voice, and then they map my face, and it was just kind of more me, it felt, so it was kind of cool.
So Nero, you're putting more yourself into Nero.
So
Nero is more you than
definitely more of me, yeah.
Okay, so would we ever see you at some point with white hair and a giant gauntlet at some point?
I'm 71 now, so I think around 91 I will definitely have white hair.
I'll hold you on to that. I'll hold you to that at 91. So you said that you've done actual martial arts,
yes.
and live action movies. I've seen one of the movies. I can't know what it was called now. I do apologize. But what's that difference like between being in the booth and being on set at that point? Because I know you're using more of your body, but you'd be able to articulate that better.
It's a different thing. I mean, it's still acting, but it's kind of, well, with voiceover again, you could go in and you could be whatever character, whatever. You could be a giant chicken. It doesn't matter, as long as you could provide a voice for that character. And physically, I feel like obviously on camera is going to require a bit more, but you can act more with your eyes, and you don't have to emote with your voice as much. Like in the booth, you have to push it a little bit farther emotion-wise, with your voice, so it registers, unless the animation is obvious, emotionally. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense. Okay. No, that completely makes sense.
You can be much more subtle, basically, in film than you can in voiceover. But you can also, it's a thin line, because you can be too flat in voiceover, or you could be way too cartoony, so it just depends. Right?
Okay. And I think this is going to be the last two questions, because I actually don't know how much time we've got left on the...
It's running down. I can see it's running down.
So... As a thing, going into voiceover, you've done voiceovers, you've done actual acting, and you've done obviously big movies. Would you ever see yourself being in a video game movie as a character?
That would be awesome.
What would you do? You have any particulars, if I may ask? Now, I would direct it more towards Nintendo characters, for example. Would you ever be the next Super Mario, if I may ask, or Luigi?
Oh,
Since you like playing your characters.
That'd be awesome, but I feel like I'm too half Asian for that.
Hey,
what half Asian video game character could I be?
I think you'd make a good... well, to be fair, Mario is developed by the Japanese.
That is true. But
I don't think that's the living word.
Mario's not an Asian name.
Okay.
He is definitely not Asian.
Okay, let's say Pit, or maybe one of the Tekken characters by that standpoint.
Hey, that would work. Tekken, that'd be awesome.
Tekken or Street Fighter. Street Fighter 2.
Yeah, exactly.
Maybe next... I would say Fei Long, but I'm not exactly sure where that sits with you.
Sure. It's Asian-y.
Asian.
And martial arts, which is an added plus.
And finally, just to wrap it all up and bring it all together, the community has been I feel like has been so supportive of everything that you've done. What have you taken away from exactly the community as a whole? Like, what's the most important thing as a community for you?
In regards to the fans?
Yes, and whether you want to call it whether it's each individual facet of fans, so for example the Power Rangers fans, the voice actor fans, and so on and so forth, or just in general if you want to do it all.
Well, gosh, I don't know. I mean, well, I'm at a con right now,
yes.
So the cool thing about, first off, I have to say thanks for all the support, because I wouldn't be here or be able to, come to a place like this, fly out to Manchester for, a weekend, if fans weren't there to support that. But what's really nice is, what I think is really cool is, like, you work on a show or a game or whatever, you're in the booth, and there's no reward. You do the job the best you can, and you find out later when you go to a con or whatever, and then you see people either dressed up as that character or bringing you that, or asking questions about that character. That's the reward. That's the applause, Whereas, if you're doing like a live stage show, you'll find out real quick if people like it or not, So it's really kind of interesting to see what shows. Like, there are a lot of shows where I really thought, this is going to be great. And then you show up at a con and people didn't like that one.
Alright, so I guess that's us wrapping up now.
I guess so. Yeah.
So, Johnny Yong Bosch, where can people find you on Twitter or
You
Facebook?
can find me on all of those things at Johnny Yong Bosch.